This is KGW News at noon.
We are starting this noon with a live look at weather across the state. You can see our sky cams right now giving you a real-time look at Lincoln City, the Dalles, Timberline, and the Rose City. Pretty typical weather out there. Snow in the mountains, wet elsewhere. Let's get to Rod Hill, the man everyone wants to hear from right now. Rod, a lot of people thinking about the weather that we're expecting to move in this weekend.
And that's where we begin. The winter storm watch issued for our region here in the valley, the coast, and into the gorge starting at noon tomorrow, going through the day Saturday. Much of the state, as you can see, everything colored in, preparing for some type of winter weather. And highlighted here in white is that storm watch, which does include the coast for potential of accumulation of ice and snow, the same in the valley and out through the Columbia River Gorge. So let's look at what the very latest weather modeling with Futurecast is showing us, and let's begin with Friday morning at 7 a.m. A reminder that whatever the temperature is in the morning on Friday is likely going to be the high for the day. East winds will quickly develop. Temperatures will drop during the day, making accumulating snow at least a possibility. All right, so Friday, 7 a.m. The green is rain, light rain up through Salem. This is light snow / flurries from Portland up into Longview. And it doesn't change much to the noon hour. Longview, Astoria Drive. Portland's kind of on the northern edge of the total precip shield during this entire event, okay? But see how the light white colors are broken? Again, that's light snow flurries blowing around. Even if it's hours of light snow with it blowing around, it's going to be tough for it to get on the roads and do much of any impacting. Here's rain down in Eugene. Salem getting colder as the day goes along as well, getting into some snow. Here's later in the day. We still got perhaps rain holding on much of the day in Eugene, but snow picking up in Salem. Still, it's light snow, the flurries at times in the Rose City. And maybe there's not much of any heavy precipitation even through the night in Portland. But Saturday, notice all these salmon colors. This is increasing mixing of freezing rain, sleet with potential snow during the day. So lots to keep an eye on. I still don't think we're going to have overly significant accumulations in terms of snow in Portland. But some of the icing, especially down into Salem, could be very, very significant. Here's a look at the radar right now. It's rain showers below 1,500 feet. Downtown Portland sitting at 44 degrees. Again, we're fine outside of the mountains the remainder of today, and we'll be fine overnight tonight as well. Much more coming up, of course. Here's Christine.
Yeah, all important information. So yeah, you just heard Rod talking about the winter weather we're expecting. Power companies say right now is a good time to prepare for the possibility of extended outages. PGE recommends having a flashlight or maybe something like a headlamp with fresh batteries, along with a battery-powered or hand-crank radio, an alarm clock or watch. They're also recommending double-checking your phone and other devices, including those power banks, making sure they're full and ready to go. PGE says it's working on its game plan ahead of the storm.
Staging the right resources where we think the biggest impact is going to be, bringing in additional crews and things like that, so that if that storm does cause outages, we're ready to quickly react.
Portland Fire and Rescue also wants to remind people to know how to shut off the water in case pipes burst. That might include getting a special tool like this one to turn off the main valve outside the home and checking to make sure it's not stuck in the on position. And if you notice your garbage hasn't been picked up, the city hopes you'll be patient. The weather may cause some delays. KGW will be keeping track of all the winter weather as it approaches and throughout the weekend. Stay with us on air, online, and on KGW Plus for the very latest. The FAA has launched a formal investigation into Boeing after a door plug blew off Alaska Airlines Flight 1228 over Portland last week. Today, the FAA said Boeing's production has to meet a high safety standard. In a letter sent to Boeing yesterday, the agency said the company needs to figure out exactly what caused the door plug to detach and the steps they're taking to prevent it from happening again within 10 days. KGW's Tim Gordon is digging into the investigation, and we'll have a more in-depth report coming up on the news at 4 o'clock.
I want to be here in Eugene for as long as Eugene will have me. This place has everything that I could possibly ever want. There's a little bit of a problem in society today with people looking for what's next.
So breathe a sigh of relief, Oregon fans. Dan Lanning is not leaving. He posted that announcement on X this morning, ending some drama over the last 24 hours. Lanning was immediately linked to the Alabama coaching job after Nick Saban's decision to retire. Lanning was an assistant there. Oregon fans have also seen their two previous coaches ditch Eugene for other jobs. Social media was buzzing last night after a Eugene TV station said Lanning was already in Tuscaloosa for an interview. That turned out to be wrong. On ESPN earlier today, Lanning says he was at home watching a movie when his phone started blowing up. Vegas odds makers now have Washington head coach Kalen DeBoer as the favorite to land the Alabama job. Now to a quick traffic alert if you're in the Portland area. Starting this Sunday, January 14th, expect delays for the next 6 weeks if you ride the MAX. TriMet says this is the next step in construction at the Gateway Transit Center as part of its Better Red project.
It will affect 3 MAX lines, MAX blue, green, and red lines. We are encouraging that if people are traveling and using MAX during this 6-week disruption, that they plan an extra 60 minutes for their trips.
And an important note here, TriMet says the MAX red line will be suspended altogether during the work, but buses will be serving the closed stations. TriMet expects the disruptions to end and service to resume on Monday, February 26th. 2 Milwaukee police officers will not face criminal charges after a man they were transporting from Providence Milwaukee Hospital died in their custody. It was all recorded on the officers' body cameras. As KGW's Alma McCarty reports, the Multnomah County DA's office is essentially saying the evidence shows officers took the man into custody as a last resort.
The 2 Milwaukee police officers who transported John Michael Descamps to Unity Center for Behavioral Health from Providence Milwaukee Hospital on December 12th will not face any criminal charges after the 26-year-old died in their custody.
Hey, Gene. Gene. He doesn't look at me.
Multnomah County prosecutors finding no evidence those officers committed a crime, calling Descamp's death a medical event only. The medical examiner stating Descamps died from an overdose with contributing natural causes.
Trying to take him back into the hospital. They refused care.
In the same memo, the prosecutor details how Descamps was first brought to the hospital by ambulance earlier that evening, after Clackamas County deputies responded to a MAX station. He told them he'd used drugs and was in pain. At the hospital, records show over several hours, Descamps was bathed, fed, prescribed meds, and given Narcan for the possibility of a mild opioid intoxication. When staff went to discharge him, they said he went from perfectly pleasant to voluntarily reluctant to leave. And when officers observed him, he appeared to be groaning in bed and non-responsive. Here's what an ER staffer told one of the officers.
He's been evaluated medically. There's no medical problems for him. This is a chronic problem. He's not thriving chronically, but there's no medical reason for him to be here anymore.
Later, officers pushed back. The body cam video shows.
He can't be on his own. We can't. Huh? Why is he being released?
But staff were insistent. The memo indicates, saying ER personnel told officers Descamps was, quote, malingering and playing possum.
We had him set up with a shelter, a cab to take him to the shelter, and he didn't want to leave. He wanted to stay here all night, and so that's how that went for him.
The deputy DA writing the video supports the conclusion that Descamps was only placed on a police hold and transported to Unity when it became clear that hospital would not treat him any further. In a statement, Providence said it's working to do better in providing safe, reliable, and compassionate care. As the internal and external reviews continue at Providence Milwaukee, we recognize we have a lot of work to do in building better relationships with our first responders, especially the officers in the Milwaukee Police Department. Police and emergency personnel have difficult, high-pressure jobs, and we commit to doing more to ease their way. Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Now to another patient who was discharged from Providence, Milwaukee under questionable circumstances. TriMet recordings from the night of January 1st detail how a bus driver called to report that security at the hospital had placed an older woman on his bus. The driver says she appeared to be in crisis and was unable to care for herself.
I didn't like it at all. I felt she was forced on me, and I knew it was going to be like this.
So in that recording, TriMet operations staff tell the driver they've started flagging and reporting these types of situations to the organization that accredits and sets standards for hospitals. That effort, TriMet says, is to try to support drivers. Disability Rights Oregon weighed in too, saying these cases point to a larger problem.
She's being placed on there because, there's seemingly nowhere else for her to go. It's a breakdown in the mental health care system.
Providence would not provide details about this specific patient because of privacy policies. But TriMet says police and medical teams responded to the bus and took the woman to a hospital in an ambulance. This noon, we're also continuing to follow what some are calling a failure in Oregon's paid leave program. That's because some families are still waiting to see benefits. We spoke with the Adamo family. They've got a newborn and they've been waiting 2 months with no income. The Adamos tell us they spent several days on the phone, stuck on hold for hours. Then they say they had to wait longer after they were told their documents got sent to the wrong department.
They sent a decision November 30th with a letter ID. We have canceled the decision because it was an error. We apologize for any confusion this may have caused.
Paid Leave Oregon officials say they believe overall the program has been a successful one, and they deny claims there have been delays due to documents being sent to wrong departments. But they say they're looking into Adamo's case to learn more about what happened. A massive effort is underway from both the city and PBOT to clear one of Portland's largest homeless camps on Northeast 33rd Drive. They first started the sweep on Tuesday, and so far they've towed nearly 40 vehicles. This is what's left. There have been smaller cleanups in the past, but this week the city is clearing everything and say it'll take about 4 days. So far, outreach workers have referred 26 people to a shelter, but we found some people avoided the tow trucks by moving just 3 streets away.
There's not really a plan. We're on the run again from PBOT.
Because this is all we have. This is all, a lot of us, we don't have family. We don't have anybody out here. So this is all we have. And now I don't even know where half the people are.
Outreach workers will be there all week, referring people to shelters and other sites. The city says it plans to post no parking signs to try to deter people from returning.